Okay, we are live and about a minute and a half early, and this is a special broadcast at a special early time. 4:30 p.m. was the scheduled start, and we're about a minute and a half early. And so this is a special emergency broadcast. do not do not drift away from this channel. We have emergency updates, emergency messages, and so stay tuned to this channel. Oh, let me turn on my background lights. Hey, Google, turn on living room lights. Folks said that they like those background lights on, so figured I'd go ahead and turn those back on by popular opinion. And I'm wearing an oldie but a goodie. This shirt is from Nordstrom's from back in the day when they used to have shirts made in the USA. And very good fabric in this. Oldie but a goodie from Nordstrom. It was probably made by Kenneth Gordon or somebody like that for Nordstrom's. And so I have the SBGY 002 on wrist, the SBGY 002 stunner on wrist. And so that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Amazing piece. So yeah, and life is good. And we're going to talk about the possibility of a Rolex bubble. I've talked about this before, that the prices are insane on some of the Rolex models. And of course, the poster child for this is the Pepsi. The Rolex GMT Master 2 with the Jubilee bracelet, Pepsi, which is a fantastic watch, beautiful watch for the MSRP. I think it'd be a good move, but not at $22,400. Then of course there's a white gold version there for $69,000, almost $70,000. Most of the asking prices for the Pepsi are over $20,000, and that gets into where we would say insane prices, insanity. And usually when you have insanity like that on a steel sport watch, usually it means that we are in a bubble situation. Now, a bubble can go on for 2 or 3 years, and we've been in it hard for like at least a year, maybe 2. I'm not sure when the prices really got insane, but we've been in it for probably a couple of years. It could go on for another year or 2, but the thing about a bubble like this is you just don't know when things are going to fall apart. It's a game of musical chairs, right? And when the music stops playing, there aren't going to be enough chairs. And so what typically happens in a situation like this is you see a lot of fervor, you see a lot of people FOMOing in, fear of missing out, where they're buying these items and they'll pay any price because they think the price is just going to keep going up. They think they're going to be a great investment, right? And then when there's any sign of problems and the market starts getting soft or whatever, then all these people that have stockpiles of them as investments that really couldn't afford to buy them in the first place, they all start trying to sell at the same time. And that's when you get the panic start setting in. And then the price can just crash, absolutely crash. Just so you know, this situation that we're having right now is not normal. Back in the day, and I'm not talking that long ago, I'm talking maybe 5-10 years ago and back, typically you could get a 10 to 15%, sometimes a 20% discount on a steel sport model Rolex, brand new. You could get more than that, maybe 20, 25, 30. I've even gotten as much as 40%. I got 40% off on a white gold date, brand new, back in the day, because the guy couldn't sell it. It was in his store window for 3 years. He couldn't sell it. And I finally got it. I got it for 40% off list, brand new. That was in like, I want to say around 1981-ish, around that time from 1980, 1981. And then I subsequently resold that to the then owner of Capital Porsche Audi, which shortly thereafter went out of business. And so that was the first Rolex Date 8 that I actually bought brand new, and I made an offer on the watch, and I was just lowballing the guy. I had no clue that he would take it. And I had the cash money. I put it down on the counter, and he said, done. And so I ended up owning a white gold Date 8, which I really didn't even want because I prefer yellow gold. But it was a hell of a deal. And I swear, I'm searching my memory banks. I don't remember how much I paid for it. It might have been like $2,200 or something. I just don't remember, but it was 40% off list. I do remember that the amount of the discount. And Sam says he almost got laughed out of the AD asking for a discount. Okay. And Pepsi better on the oyster. I actually much prefer the Jubilee on a GMT. I had both back in the day. I had a GMT2 on the oyster, and I also had the an all black GMT on the Jubilee, and I actually prefer the Jubilee. It's just a gorgeous bracelet and very, very comfortable on wrist. So, and he says, just say no. There you go. And Ultraman Red is in the house. So so that's just what happens with a thing like this is you don't know when the bottom's going to fall out, and usually you don't get a lot of warning. That's the problem, is you usually don't get a heads up, right? Maybe some insiders will kind of see the market softening and kind of know, but when the real crash comes, when the real bottom falls out, usually there's little warning, and a lot of people get caught holding the bag, in this case holding the Rolexes. And here's the thing, if you actually buy these watches to wear, the price drops quite a bit if it's actually been worn and used. And so there you don't really have the investment, right? Because now all of a sudden you're selling a watch that's worn and used, and you're not going to get nearly as much. And by the time you pay the seller's fee to sell it on one of these sites or consign it to somebody and all that, you might not end up making any money at all on a Pepsi. So it's not really that easy to do all this stuff. Castle Incorporated says 14,600 for 41 millimeter sub date wholesale. That's crazy. Yeah, I would say we're getting a little overheated. Let's see, quartz going up from the chip shortage. Okay. Oh, that's a possibility that could happen too. There's going to be a lot of shortages in the supply chains for a while now. This global shutdown, we haven't even started seeing the ramifications of that yet. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Desk Divers in the house, he says, what about the Daytona? Yeah, insane prices on Daytonas. Daytonas back in the day, you couldn't hardly give them away. They sat in the AD's window. And none of us wanted them. None of us wanted a Daytona. I mean, we looked at them occasionally, and we knew that that Paul Newman had one. You know, I met him out at the racetrack in West Virginia, and let's go ahead and show that photo. And you know, we knew that he wore that watch, and that's a photo that I took back in the day. Summit Point Raceway in West Virginia. He was racing there one day. And so, but it wasn't a big deal. We didn't really, none of us really wanted that. We wanted the Date 8. And so there I am. If you look real close in that picture, you can see on my left wrist, there is a President bracelet with a conventional clasp. That was the first Date 8 that I had, that had the conventional clasp bracelet, and I loved it. I loved the fact that it had the micro adjustments, and it was just different. And it was an 1803, had some stretch. It was a 1966 model, I believe, that I bought in, let's see, I got it in, I think, 1980. I think that's when I got that, was like 1980. That was my first Date 8. So my first Rolex I got in 1978, and that was a Datejust with the engine turned bezel. The engine turned bezel, a Datejust that also the bracelet was made in these United States. Rolex did that for a while. Let's see, Briefit Dance is in the house. Briefit Dance says hello. She says hello, and I'll tell you, the I watched the video. The Timepiece Gentleman, their video the other day, and I saw the part where he went to Beverly Hills, and he met with that guy, and he sold him a watch, and he bought a watch, and then he showed him the Richard Mille. Is that how you pronounce that? Anyway, that abomination of that ugly watch, and he was trying to sell it to him for I think 120,000, and he was telling me it was worth 220,000 or something or whatever. That guy didn't seem real impressed. He kind of passed on it. Oh, hold on a second. Dan's calling. Dan wants to be live on the show. We started early today. I'm live. You want to say hello to the audience?
It must be intuition. I thought, I haven't talked to the Bitcoin gang in a while.
Yeah. We're talking about the Rolex bubble right now, the price bubble and steel sport Rolexes.
What's the reason for the bubble?
Everybody's just going insane and paying insane prices for them. Who knows why there's a bubble, why there ever is a bubble, right? But it is.
Is that typically a volatile thing?
We'll see. It's been going on for a while now. To give you just an example, there's a model called a Rolex Pepsi, a GMT. They call it the Pepsi, and it's a popular steel sports model Rolex. I think it lists around 10,000. Don't quote me on that number. They're selling for well over 20,000, double sticker price used. Okay, I mean that is insane. That is just insane.
Is it similar to used cars where there's a scarcity that's causing some cars?
Well, you can't walk into an AD and buy one. An authorized dealer, they don't have them in stock. There's none in stock anywhere, so you have to buy them secondhand. But I mean, it's just gotten out of hand. So,
is it a COVID related scarcity?
It was even happening before COVID. It's gotten worse, but it was even happening before COVID. So it's a whole thing. But anyway, I'll let you go. I got to keep up with the comments here. They're chomping at the bit. But
we need to invent a product that we don't even have to stock it, and we'll make a lot of money.
That's right, with no inventory.
There's real scarcity. Yeah.
That's right. Bye. Speaking of scarcity, the the Facebook group that I have is very exclusive for stunning watches only. Is that the name of it? I don't even remember the name of it anymore. It's so exclusive, I can't even remember the name of it. But anyway, that's a very exclusive group. So just keep in mind. And somebody says no. And let's see. Jaden says, could never imagine how overpriced and hyped Rolex, how they have gotten. And somebody says, Dan in the house. Okay. And hey, Craig, if the bubble busts, guys like TPG are going to have to eat meals at the food bank. Timepiece, TPG, is that Timepiece Gentleman? Yeah, I think that's who that is. Yeah, we'll see what happens. They're riding it high while they can. They're riding the wave. So Richard Mille looks like a crap copy of a G-Shock. You got that right. It's market pressure, sales in Asia, moneyed millennials, ADs selling out the back doors. Yeah, they've orchestrated this thing pretty well, but I think the bottom's going to fall out at some point. I mean, the real dealers are going to make money regardless. If people are hoarding too hard, then they will go bust. If you're making 10% margins, you can make that at 20K or 8K. Yeah, they'll sell them on the way down. They sold them on the way up. Good point, Triforce Rich. But again, 10% of 20,000 is more money than 10% of 8,000. So there's that. Only Stunning Watches, says Briefit Dance. That's the exclusive group. Only Stunning Watches. Bree's a member. Joma Shop was trying to sell new old stock 34 millimeter Air Kings for over 6K. When the wind blows, even the turkeys fly. That's a good one. I like that one. When the wind blows, even the turkey fly. I have to remember that one. Dealers were successful when they sold under list. They made their margins. Hype is insane now, though, so only the old guys and smart new ones will survive. Triforce Rich in the house. So when somebody saw that Richard Mille watch, Richard Mille or however you pronounce it, I'll show you what the reaction was when somebody saw that watch. You guys ready for the reaction? Here we go.
It looks like somebody's nightmare.
So we'll play that again.
It looks like somebody's nightmare.
Yeah, that's what they said. It looks like somebody's nightmare. So that was the official reaction to that ugly watch. That is the reaction to a lot of ugly watches. Actually, to be fair, before the hype, dealers' margins were higher than 10%. So there is that. It's hyper competitive. Dealers' margins. You mean aftermarket dealers' margins? Well, but here's the thing. They can afford to take a smaller margin if they're selling them at much higher amounts, right? I mean, just like if you list a house with a realtor and it's a $30 million house, you can negotiate that sales commission down. You know, that's how that whole thing works. Craig, you like 34 millimeter Rolex. Some of them are nice. Some of them are nice. My wrist is pretty big, so I kind of like the 36 was always a great size. Like the Day-Date 36 always looked great on wrist. Very good presence on wrist. Speaking about a Day-Date, our Wags has an 1807 bark finish Day-Date that looked great on his wrist. I saw it in person on his wrist. Stunner alert. And so yeah, that 36 mil Day-Date is just talk about a amazing all around piece. He says, Ship, we've been wrong so far on the Rolex prices going bust. I can't believe it's continuing to go up. Yeah, well, sometimes these bubbles last a while. I mean, sometimes they do. I think the .com bubble, you know, people were saying it was going to go bust like 3 years before it finally went bust. And, you know, sometimes it takes a while. So, and with everything that happened with COVID and all that, I think that accelerated it and gave it some more lifeblood, right? Because the rich got richer, the poor got poorer. Money is like, nobody wants to have their money in cash anymore. They want to put it in something. So they put it in watches, stocks, maybe Bitcoin, you know, they just want to park it somewhere. So this way they can justify buying that expensive watch, you know, saying it is a quote investment, right? Castle Incorporated, I'm not sure what that means exactly. Okay. And Kyle says, hey guys. And John says there is no bubble, absolutely no bubble, that this is going to continue forever. And that in fact, they're going to continue to go up in price. That pretty soon the Pepsi will be 100,000 USD. It probably will be 100,000 USD because 100,000 USD won't be worth anything by then. So there's that. So are the prices of these Rolexes going up, or is the value of the USD tanking? Maybe it's the latter. I think it's a combination of both. What's up? The Tudor making a timepiece out of silver. Yeah, it's just absolutely silly. Absolutely silly. And that anybody would buy a Tudor. And we have a good buddy here on the channel that actually bought one. Can you imagine that? Oh, well. A Desk Diver says Richard Mille are only popular because they are extremely limited. If they increase their stock, no one would care about them. It just goes to show you there's a sucker born every minute. And somebody else said there's an ass for every seat. I forget who said that. There was somebody said that. Let's see here. It's simply supply and demand. The demand is so high and the supply is a pittance. I think they may have had some supply constraints because of COVID. They may definitely have had some supply constraints, but they're still making quite a few watches. So yeah, I think that we'll see how this whole thing plays out. Maybe that's what'll trigger it when they get back to full production. Maybe that's what will trigger the crash. We don't know yet what will continue, what will trigger the crash. We just suspect that it's coming. Let's see. If prices drop to retail, would anyone here be interested in buying a Rolex? I always bought mine at retail or a little below. I never paid over. I actually got discounts on the steel ones for sure, and even bigger discounts on the gold ones. Richard Mille has become a store value also. Yeah, that's insane. All watches have gone up in price, dollars taking a pounding. That's true. Urban Rodent, soon an Apple will cost $35. Good point. Craig, if someone told you back in the day that stainless steel Pepsi would cost $20K, what would you tell them? Yeah, it would have been hilarious. And not $20K, but double retail used. That would have been a mind blower to me, because used, you used to pay about 60% of retail for a steel Rolex used if it was in good shape. You paid about half for a gold one. So if it was a date 8, for example, and it was, let's say, 5 or 6 years old and in good shape, you typically would pay half of the list price to buy it used. That was kind of the rule of thumb. The gold ones, you'd pay half. The steel ones, you'd pay maybe 40% off, about 60% of the retail value, something like that. And you could generally buy them new for 15 to 20% off, in that range of a discount. So that was what happened back in the day routinely. Okay, you don't like the Tudor GMT? No, I would pass on any Tudors. Yeah, I think they're better options for the money. The hour hand on most of them is just butt ugly, excuse my French. John Smith, over 300 names were put on the list at my AD around 2 days after the current was released. AD will probably only get 35 over 10 years. That shows how high rollers will get the pieces at retail. Okay. Your dollars are dissolving in the bank. You got that right. Best to put those dollars somewhere else. I got a lot of my dollars in Bitcoin, so we'll see how that works out. So far, so good. Let's see here. Slowed down from the factory working half time. Okay, good point. Craig, would you rather wear the most basic entry-level GS or the nicest Tudor? I mean, that's not even a hard question. I mean, the GS for sure. I mean, the entry-level GSs are really nice watches. They don't make any junk. So they're really nice watches. Yeah, I mean, that's not even a close call. Tudor, everything they make is marginal. So yeah, I would pass on the whole Tudor thing. Notice the thing is nice. Tudor says blue. Well said. Is 12K too much for stainless steel rhodium Datejust 41 with diamond hours? It doesn't sound like it to me, but I'm not a fan of the Datejust 41. I just never liked the proportions of that watch. I just didn't like the look of it. Now, if you've got a pretty big wrist and you can pull it off, maybe, but I much prefer the 36 mil Datejust to the 41. There's just something about the proportions of the 41 that I just never took to it. But I mean, it's not hateful, but just not the way I would go. Rolexes are not worth the price. The Batman is worth like 6 to 7K. You're paying for the name, though. I do like their movements. I think that's right. 6 to 7K for a used one would make sense. John Smith is in the house. My AD told me he only gets maximum 2 blue dial Sky Dwellers a year. There's no way he will satisfy the demand. Those watches will only go to people who have spent at least 100K at the store. There you go. Pseudoscientist says the average person has no idea what watches cost. Rolex is the flex watch because the average person knows that they are pricey. Okay. Well, I think a lot of people are not even buying them necessarily as flex watches. I think a lot of people are just buying them on speculation and hoarding them. I think a lot of these people don't even wear them. I mean, you can't flex if you don't wear it. You can flex on social media, I guess. Yeah, I guess they're social media flex watches, but they're not real life flex watches because they don't even wear the puppies. So there you go. I love the most basic GS, the 261 quartz. Yeah, like I say, I mean, the most basic GS is an amazing watch. They don't make any junk. Urban Rodent, I managed to buy only one Rolex at retail, and that was the 126610 LV. Okay. It looks like I have a visual on Steve. Let me add him to the stream here. And let's see. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me, Steve?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We've got things working.
Yeah, this is very basic, though. I'm using my new MacBook Air camera and setup. I've sort of lost the thread.
I might be hearing a little bit of feedback. So depending on how you're listening to me, you might want to use like earbuds or something to hear me. So there's no.
I've got to.
But it's not terrible. It's not terrible. So don't panic. But
let me sound off
And
here.
while you're doing that, I'm going to put up some more comments. We got a bunch of comments here. Golden Tudor is a waste of gold. Okay. I didn't know they made a gold Tudor. I don't think they do. R. Wags is in the house. He says, Johnny down at the used car lot just got this old car. It was lime green with pink and purple polka dotted seats. Fred walked up and said to Johnny, who in tarnation will ever buy this car? And Johnny replied, Fred, don't you know there's an ass for every seat? That's right. That's an old saying. Let's see. Castle Incorporated, Urbana. If you got a 1266 at retail, you won at life. Okay. All right. So it's a flex watch in my safe, says one guy. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So I don't even know if I can keep up with the comments at this point. But Steve, bring us up to date. My gosh, it's been a while since we've had you on the show.
Yeah, a couple of things. Are you hearing me okay, first off?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I had my other screen on and I turned it off. Yeah, so I've been offline for a good while now. The two things are conspiring. One is our new store hours, where we close at 6. We used to close at 7 before all the COVID adjustments. So while you're on, I'm sort of closing up the shop and getting on the road. So we've got to work some new time frames out. And also just been terrifically busy. Just almost no time for the online thing for a bit, and I'm hoping that will let up a bit. First half of the year was just screaming, and now we're sort of leveling off a little bit, and things should look better. So news, we have scheduled the annual watch show. We're going to have it on the 8th and 9th of October, starting at noon on the 8th. That's a Friday, and continuing till about 5 p.m. on Saturday, the 9th. So that's locked in. So set your calendars accordingly. I know a couple of folks want to come in from out of town. Just met a guy Sunday rather, who's going to come in from Minnesota. So things should be pretty exciting. And we'll have most of our brands there. We're lining up our oyster shucking tent and plan to have our watch wardrobing contest again, where about 20 to 25 people usually enter and match their watch with their outfit, their car, or tell a great yarn. And we have some really nice prizes. So that's sort of what's going
that's always a fun thing that you do there. Well, check out the comment we've got here from Triforce Rich. He says, every time I've met somebody wearing a GS, which is admittedly rare, it has been a pleasure. Always educated and passionate. Most Rolex owners want status for status' sake.
Ooh.
Interesting. Yeah, the GS buyers are buying it because they want a great watch.
Yeah.
So John says, I can't see Rolex prices crashing even last year when there was a lockdown. I might have had a few white gold Daytona, Oyster Flex, and rose gold Daytona, so he sold them all in a week. Well, I think all the lockdowns and all this stuff actually helped sales because everybody was locked down and that's all they could do is buy watches. Steve, you sold a lot of watches to lockdown folks.
Absolutely. And so we're now selling a pretty high percentage of our business over the phone through people largely we met through your show and some of the things that we're doing independently on YouTube. And it's been way up. Seems like a lot of people directed their excess funds to things like watch collecting and the like. I know overall the luxury industry has been up pretty well, and from the numbers I see in our industry, we're even more up than most. And
the rich are getting richer, so they have money to spend. Yeah. Steve, it says here, Steve is a Patek man. He's wearing a precious metal Patek Grand Complications when the men of the 80s thought their date was hot, you know what? Oh, he was wearing, okay. Or
Right.
maybe they're saying you still have one. Somebody said you have one tucked away somewhere, but I haven't seen it. So
No,
I'm not sure.
you haven't seen it, and I haven't seen it either. So not my thing.
Urban Rodents in the house. At Castle and Corporate, I wanted a Batman, but I walked in and complained at the way I was being treated, and then they pulled out a subby. So they gave him a Submariner. Okay, he was the one that bought a sub at retail. There you go. Hello, Steve. Looking at a GS at Little Treasury in the future. So which
Okay.
model? Do tell.
Yeah. What are you looking
model?
for?
Oh, here we go. Here's a follow-up. I genuinely think Grand Seiko Spring Drive is much superior to most Rolexes, especially the Snowflake. Well, yeah, here's the thing about the Spring Drive is it is extremely robust. I researched in the forums and all before I bought mine and talked to people that had them for 10 or 20 years. They'd been out for like, I think around 20 years at the time. And I couldn't find anybody that had any issues with their spring drive. They seem to be extremely robust movement. So that's why I finally decided to opt for one of those. And of course, I sold my Rolex shortly thereafter, and my last Rolex that I had at the time, which was an 18238 date 8, and never looked back. So what's the deal with the spring drive, Steve? Are you seeing the same thing in your experience, that it's just an extremely robust movement?
I am just thinking while you're having a discussion, we've sold probably about 700 or 800 spring drives, and I can't recall any that have come back with a problem in terms of movement. I think
That's
zero.
incredible.
Yeah, zero. And usually just get raves from the customers who own them. So the only complaints we get are occasionally about the bracelets, but otherwise people are extremely happy.
Now, some of the comments I'm going to put up on the screen, I may not read because I just can't keep up reading everything, but I will try to put all the comments up on the screen minimum. And if I have time, I'll also read them. So this gentleman's mentioning a few other models. Glass Shoot Original, don't you carry that model, don't you?
No, I have actually have a nice pre-owned in stock, but
you have a pre-owned Glass Shoot?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And so anyone's interested, give me a buzz. I don't have the exact model in my head, but it's a very pretty watch.
All right, there you go, folks. There's an opportunity. Steve always has reasonable prices on his pre-owns. Steve, I've heard horror stories of customers threatening ADs with negative Yelp reviews unless they get a Steel Sports. Oh my goodness, that's aggressive. If they go into a Rolex AD and threaten them with bad reviews unless they go to the safe in the back and pull out a Pepsi, that's interesting. I wonder how well that works. I don't think it works.
But there's a lot of frustration out there. We hear it every day. People talking about their Rolex shopping experience, and every day someone comes in.
And somebody here says it's not a Rolex bubble, it's an asset bubble. There's too much money in the system to mainstream people are buying discretionary stuff like Rolex. I mean, yeah, obviously this has been rocket fuel to the whole thing. All the money that has been distributed has been rocket fuel to this whole thing. But I mean, that is how a bubble works. And eventually, if that money stops flowing and people start panicking and they've bought too many of these things, I'm talking about people that maybe bought 5 or 6 steel sport Rolexes for over retail, thinking that they're going to keep going up and up and up. I think they're the ones that are going to maybe not fare so well. Anyway, we'll see what happens. As interest rates go up, Rolex and Patek will cool off along with stocks and real estate. We'll see how that happens. And this guy's always got some interesting comments. Oh, jeez. We'll let Corey go here. Let's see. ViewServe. Steve, are you at liberty to name the watch brand that gets the most problems? Uh-oh. I don't think he's going to say that.
No.
It's probably a model you don't carry any longer.
Yeah, but No, I'm not going to get into that. But
He's too much of a gentleman. I mean, I know that he has gotten rid of brands that were not up to his level, but I'm sure, would not mention those brands. But he runs a tight ship there. He's not going to keep junk around Little Treasury.
yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I was going over that the other day with my wife and one of our associates, and we have, I think, about 23 watch brands in the store now, and we've gone through almost 20 that are no longer with us for one reason or another, and the reasons are very diverse. But a lot of it has to do with the wholesale retail relationship, and ultimately what happens with customer service, more than the physical watch itself.
Here's the Ultraman Red is looking at the SBGW 252.
Mm-hmm.
The Seiko Prospex Antarctica Spring Drive I bought from Steve is awesome.
Okay.
So he got that watch from you?
The Antarctica, I'm not familiar with that nickname. So what is it? What's the actual
Which model that is? But
number?
anyway, he's happy with it, and he got it from you, so that's the good thing. And let's see here. My AD had 6 people who put their name down for the new Patek 5968G 2 days after it was released. You probably only see 2 of those watches per year. Can only see Patek. I can't see Patek or Rolex losing money. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't think they're losing money. A lot of rich people moved from steel sports to Rolex precious metal, which caused a surge in that market. Craig advertised precious metal too much and people caught on. Yeah, we did kind of do that, I think. I think we kind of triggered that whole thing. But I think it's good. I think people should move to 18 karat yellow gold if they're going to spend over $20,000. I think they should at least get gold.
Right.
That was my point. If you're going to spend that kind of money, go for the gold. And we'll talk about, there's an SBGY for a decent deal on Chrono 24. Matter of fact, I'm going to show it right now. On Chrono 24, there's a this is rare. I don't see them for this kind of price. There's an SBGY 002, the gold stoner that I have on wrist, for 18,440, a watch that's been worn. So if you want to buy one to wear, that's the one to buy. All the rest of them are over list price. So that's a rare bargain on an SBGY 002. You don't see that often, do you, Steve?
No, well, very few came into the country to begin with, so they're scarce, very scarce. So
yeah. So let's see. So this is the gentleman that got the subby. Okay. Let's see. Honestly, Steve, as loyal customers, tell us one brand that is so awful that you don't mind trashing them. Honestly, Steve, as loyal customers. Oh, okay. So but see, the problem is that this is going to be, this is going to be up forever. I'll tell you what, if you come to the event in October, we'll make a deal here. Steve, let's make a deal here. If he comes to the event in October and he buys a stunner, it would have to be a stunner that I approve of.
Okay.
Then he'll be able to come to the private dinner and we'll give him some scuttlebutt at the private dinner.
Absolutely.
How's that sound, Steve?
Sounds good.
Okay. So that's the deal.
By the way, you're going to be here at the event, right?
We're planning on doing a live stream from there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If we can get our act together, get everything strung up properly.
One way or the other, we'll get our act together. Right. In the UK, we had an authorized AD phone line redirected to some criminal gang who had also obtained the waiting list. They went through the list and requested deposits over the phone to steal money. Oh, that's great. Hack a list, a waiting list, and get them to all send deposits. Okay, now we've seen everything. Kyle says, are there any brands that you no longer carry due to lack of popularity or demand? We talked about that earlier, Kyle. He's dropped a number of brands. I think he said 20 brands for
almost
various reasons. And he won't say it, but I'm sure he's had some brands that he dropped because they just weren't up to his satisfaction for one reason or another. And that's good. I mean, he doesn't want to sell junk at the store, correct, Steve?
absolutely not. Yep.
Yeah. So he's got to run a tight ship. Let's see, Steve, can you say if GS monitors this channel's streams?
I wouldn't call it monitor, but I think they're definitely aware of it and keep tabs on what's going on with Craig. And I think they're generally pleased with what they hear.
Well, there we go.
They have
I
a lot
think
of
they're too
respect for
busy to.
Craig, and I was just talking with the top fellows the other day about Craig and what a great job he's done, and they appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, I think they're too busy though. They really are busy. They don't have like a lot of extra staff. So yeah,
They really don't. They really don't at all.
let's see. I heard about the scam in the UK too. Jeez. Yeah, I mean that's a scam that you could probably do just randomly. That could be a phishing thing, like these phishing emails that are sent out. Like you could these guys that send out like millions of emails, right? They could just send one out and say, you know, your Rolex is ready, or your Daytona, right? Just click on this link, right? And that could just be sent to everybody, and they just, hey, if they get a small percentage clicking, that's how those phishing scams work. Greetings to Steve from Blue.
Howdy.
Does GS make any gold sport watches?
Yes, I have, and I'm forgetting the exact reference, a gold chronograph, which is very, very gold. I mean, it's a very heavy.
Is it all gold?
Well, it's not a gold a bracelet. It's on a strap, but it is all gold.
Oh, really? It's a 18 karat gold.
Yes,
chronograph.
It is, and I have it in stock. And I'll try to
Wow.
look it up. Yeah, beautiful piece. I'm going to try to get the reference number while we chat.
Take your time. Lance is in the house. He says, hello, Craig and Steve. Triforce Rich. Where's my invitation to the event?
Oh,
I want to have steak, be given false praises by attractive saleswomen, and get drunk with Steve. There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
You just have to buy a stunner. That's all you have to do.
Right.
Let's see here. In both your opinions, what's the most underrated brand? I mean, it has to be Grand Seiko. Now it's becoming less so. More and more people are beginning to respect it, but I still think it's underrated to where it should be. It should be rated significantly higher than Rolex, and now it's getting to the point where it's kind of rated, you know, similarly to Rolex, but it should be way over them, in my opinion. R. Wags is in the house. Steve, please give your October Little Treasury event date again.
The 8th and 9th of October, Friday.
8th and 9th of October.
Yeah. Let's get a little straw poll. Who's listening is planning on coming or hoping to come.
Put yes, I'm coming in the chat if you're coming. I heard a dog man fell for that UK scam. No surprises. He's not too bright. Okay. Yeah. Our Wags in the house. I'm from Blue. Triforce Rich. I'm going to have to blast through a few of these. Kyle Jet, sell your BTC and contact GS directly to make you a piece unique. Steve can make the introduction. Money solves many issues. Do they ever make any bespoke watches that on request? Grand Seiko.
One-off pieces, not to my knowledge, but they will make a limited edition bespoke for a store or whatever.
If he were to tour the factory and maybe have a suitcase of money with him, maybe he'll be able to work something out. So that's what I would recommend, how to proceed on that. What if GS does but what if GS does, but didn't give you credit, Kyle, at CalJet? I'm not sure what that's. Okay. All wrench members should be invited. Can I bring Trashy Larry? Yeah, any wrench members is absolutely invited.
Actually, Larry, a wrench person?
But they need to sign up, right? They need to sign up on your
Oh,
website.
yeah, we have to know who's coming. You just don't walk in.
To the event?
Yeah, we're going to send out invites and try to get a list of attendees in advance.
And you can always email, if you're a VIP, I highly recommend that you email Steve at littletreasury.com. Steve at littletreasury.com if you're VIP, so that he can make sure that you get the treatment that you deserve as a VIP.
Also,
Comments?
If you don't get our material now, or Kate, we don't send a lot, emails, send your contact info if you want to be notified of this and other events as well.
To Steve at littletreasury.com. Castle Incorporated says, comments on the Citizen Chronomaster AQ 1050-50L.
I don't even know what that is.
Citizen Chronomaster.
Not
Do you carry Citizen? You carry Citizen, don't you?
We do, but I'm not on top of every reference number.
I would email Steve and let him check on it, and he'll let you know if he has one in stock, and if not, what the scoop is on it.
Yeah.
Ray's in the house says he will be there. Okay, so Ray will be there.
Ray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray will be there.
Thank you, Ray.
Kyle says, Rich, if that will work, I'll do it without selling the BTC though, and just use USD. Yeah, he's going to use his fiat because that's losing value. Kyle's in the house. He says, be a serve. They need to include my initials on the case back. And Lance, I just lost my place here. What happened here? Oh, here we go. Lance, when is the event? Everybody's asking again, when is it? It's October, 6 and 7?
No, 8th and 9th, guys.
8th and 9th. October 8th and 9th. Okay, John Smith is in the house. As long as big celebrities keep wearing Rolex watches, I don't see the bubble ever popping. Whoa. LeBron, Roger Federer, and Sly Stallone all have they did that back in the day. They had celebrities wearing Rolex watches. I mean, the mountain climber guy, the golfer guy, they've done that forever, and they didn't have this bubble before. So this bubble is an anomaly. It's not normal. It will pass at some point. Just take my word for it. It ain't going on forever. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Buserve's in the house, or a portrait engraving. Okay. Triforce Rich. I can't keep up with these comments. As I said, money solves most issues. If they only bundle 100 watches for an order, then just pay for 100 watches and tell them to make one. Bam, you have a piece unique. There you go. All right. The Citizen Chronomaster is similar to the GS9F.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. I'm just trying to go through these comments because there's too many. I can't get them all here. Are Omegas better than Grand Seiko? You carry both?
Don't ask me that question.
I mean, my take on it is they both make great watches. It really depends on what you want, what style you want, what you're looking for in the bracelet and all those different variations. The thing I liked about the Grand Seiko bracelet, everybody bitches about the bracelet, but the thing I liked about my diver watch, the bracelet on it is exceptionally comfortable. Of course, that's titanium, but even the steel ones, I think, are finished as nicely. The edges are all very smooth. It's got a lot of flexibility to it. I think it has more flexibility to it than the Rolex bracelets and or the Omega bracelets. It depends on what you want. I'm really pleased with that, and I'm pleased with the way it adjusts on wrist. Very quick and easy to adjust it on wrist, that extension mechanism. which I bitched about when I first got the watch, but after 2 weeks of using it, I told Steve, no, I love it. So I encourage you to look at them both and try them on and see, touch, and feel, and pick a watch that you're going to love to wear. Because on this channel, it's all about wearing the watches. It's not about box watches. So go and try them on, and I don't think you can go wrong with either. I think the Grand Seiko is the way to go. I mean, obviously, I bought it. So so there's that.
So we have a lot
Okay.
of people who are into both, actually, for different reasons. But we have people who come in for Grand Seiko, and at some point they get into Omega as well, or vice versa. So it's
Blue says I didn't I didn't catch the date. All right, I'm going to add it to the ticker.
Yeah,
That's what I got to do. I got to add it to the ticker. Okay, let me go in there right now and see if I can do this here. I got to go to banners. All right, let's see here how I can do this. I got to edit this.
Send me your info if you're not in our system, and we'll give you all the information, including hotel availability and travel information, whatever.
Event October 8 and 9, you say?
Yes.
8 and 9, 2021. Okay, let's save this. All right, and let's see if this works. There we go. Okay, I've got it right on the ticker now. How do you guys like that for service here on the channel? You get top-notch service here on the channel. Okay, Steve, what would Linda do if you rocked a Rolex at the store?
I don't know. She wouldn't care.
Derek says, am I invited to your event?
Absolutely. But when it's over, Derek. Right?
Yeah. No, it's never over.
I don't want you clawing at the door as we shove you out.
Yeah, Blue caught that. He says, you're not invited because you won't let the event end if you come.
Right.
Craig, are you going? Jupu and Rags and Blue, are you going? We haven't heard from some of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of them show up. Does Steve own a Patek? He's not telling.
I'll tell you, I don't.
He's not telling what's in his private collection. Let's see. I think we're caught up. We're caught up, so that means we can end the show.
Okay.
Steve cannot discuss his Patek insurance reasons, says Triforce Rich.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So, when can we rope you into doing a show? You can just do an informal show from there.
Yeah, I got to wire up my whole system again. As you see, I had to just pop in on my laptop thing. So I've gotten so far out of it. I've got this bunch of wires. I've got to
See, that's the thing. That's why you need to set up a permanent setup dedicated to the stream and not be using different things that you use at different places and all that. Just have a dedicated setup like I have here.
Yeah.
So you can just sit down and go live and you don't have to break stuff down. And the only thing I have to break down is I do my close-up camera. That camera there, I do use that for events. So I do unplug that and take it out if I cover an event. But other than that, everything else here is dedicated strictly to this project here.
Great.
So that way it's not a chore to go live. And so that way you're more likely to do it.
Right? I hear you.
Does Steve accept? Well, first of all, I'm going to read this one. I'll read two more comments here. Trashy Larry says he's showing up in his 1980 Ford station wagon. Well, maybe that's a collector's item now.
Yeah.
Briefit Dan says, does Steve accept Bitcoin payments?
Not yet, but Craig is pushing me in that direction.
We'll get him set up in the next big bull run. We'll get him set up. Let's see.
He wants to buy something with one of her Bitcoins.
Say again.
Looks like Bree might want to purchase something from us with a Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to spend her Bitcoin. She has iron hands holding that Bitcoin.
She's just baiting me for this.
Yeah, she's baiting you. Yeah. Let's see here. So Kyle is laughing out loud at something. Let's see. Young Kim says, thanks for the GS vids, Craig. I just ordered 2 GSs from Steve. Steve, thanks for the good deal on the 2 GSs. Can't wait to pick them up soon.
Great.
So is he picking them up at your store?
Yes.
So is he local or is he flying in?
No, local.
Oh,
Local-ish. Local-ish.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Imagine if Steve became a Patek D. Steve would have his choice of any watch addict's wife in exchange for a Nautilus.
Oh,
Oh, geez. Steve already has an amazing wife, so he doesn't have to.
Steve does.
Resort to that. Steve, wait, don't go, says Blue. Derek says, I have more to say. Bill Wood says hello to Steve and Craig.
Hey, Bill.
Let's see. And is Carlos here? I don't see Carlos here. Somebody asked Carlos a question. I don't see him in the chat. So are people really that desperate? And he's laughing. Okay. Carlos, are you going to Steve's place? Carlos was there once already.
Yeah,
we did a live stream together. So yeah. How do you feel about the Black Bay? We pass on tutors. We're not fans of tutors. Steve, what's your take on the tutor?
There are a lot of people who really like them. Let's put it that way.
A lot of people that like them. You see, he's the classic diplomat.
Well, I get asked about them frequently. Okay, yeah. I'm not heavily into the brand personally in terms of knowledge. I do have a nice pre-owned that we just made a deal on, so that'll be on my website shortly. And
so he's got a pre-owned tutor in stock. There you go. There's your chance. Let's see. Is Blue Shift Buddha coming? We don't know. Steve, you know so much John Smith in the house. Yes, he does. He's been around the block a few times. And it looks like you've lost weight, though. Steve, have you been running or something? What have you been doing?
I've been working, just worked myself to the bone here. A little bit of weight, not a lot.
So somebody just sent an email of something. So I guess I'll have to show that, and then we're going to have to wrap this up here.
Anger and vomit inducing. You better take pre-look at it.
I will. Oh, it's a Brooks Brothers thing, and it's made in China. Yeah, they've gone that way. They've outsourced it for a while now, and they used to. Just about everything was made in the USA, but not anymore. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Asian women tolerate cheating more as long as the house is in order.
I wouldn't count on that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think Steve would take his chances with that. But like I say, he doesn't have to. I mean, you know, when you've got champagne at home, why would you go out for beer?
Yeah, and honestly, my wife doesn't mind if I cheat. Just don't come home.
Yeah, there you go. Kyle says, well said, Steve, on something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it. I think we're done. Anything else before we wrap it up, Steve?
No, just look at the little stream at the bottom. I saw some misinformation on the date again popping up. So 8th and 9th of October. And send me your intentions to attend or your desire to get our information, steve@littletreasury.com. And we'll put you in our system, and you'll get the notices and updates and travel recommendations if you're coming and whatever. Okay.
And Derek says, please no. And John says, good night, Steve.
Good night,
All
John.
right.
Okay.
On that note, I'm going to click end broadcast, and that's it. Oh, Triforce Rich got one last comment in under the wire. Linda is class. I'm only pulling your leg. You are a great power couple. Yeah, they both have, speaking of power couples, they both have faux pay bracelets.
We do.
which they were wearing at the dinner, at the luxurious dinner that they treated myself and Carlos to. Thank you again for that,
Okay.
Steve. Speaking of luxury items, what did you think about my idea of getting a signet ring?
I think it's a good idea. I got Linda on it, but I have to give her a little push to get working.
Do you think it's something that we should come up with some kind of a special engraving on it for our group, our insider group?
Yeah, we could have a wrench on it.
And have them available, have like a little treasury thing on it, like a little treasury thing and a wrench. Come up with something special,
Right.
that only insiders could buy at Little Treasury.
That's a good idea. So I'll get my jewelry team working on it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to let you wait. Will there be a Watch Gang free GS giveaway?
Watch Gang
to all attendees? Whether we, well, you'll have to show up, and we'll see what happens with all that.
Yeah.
Show up. We'll see what happens with something.
Think about that.
There's definitely going to be some giveaways. He does some really good giveaways. But you're going to have to like dress up and be in like the watch wardrobing thing, and you're going to have to like work for your soup. But he does do some really cool stuff at the event. So anyway, on that note, Megan just came in. She always comes in as we wrap up. There's Megan. So we know it's time to wrap up when she comes in. All right. Thanks again for coming on, Steve. I know you're busy.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
And we will see you soon.
Yep, absolutely. Take care.
Take care, everybody.